Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to give you a tutorial on how I cover this huge canvas with gold leaf. Watch this space. So I have this very exciting commission. The canvas is 2 meters by 80 centimeters, which is actually the largest canvas commission that I've had. Obviously, as a mural painter, I used to paint on a much larger scale, but in terms of a piece of work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it with gold leaf. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And this is the largest area that I've covered with gold leaf, so that's fun. And what we're going to do ultimately is we're going to have, this is a little mock-up for my client. I gave her various different options, which I'll show you. So it's going to be gold leaf with blossom, branches, and it's going to have a hummingbird as well. So that's like my main signature style. And lucky for me, found a lovely lady who wants me to do something for her. So I'm going to take this beautiful linen canvas, which I have had ready made, and I'm going to lie it flat on the table, and then I'm going to apply the size, which is the specialist glue that you use to apply gold leaf. So let me take you around my studio and show you what materials I'm going to need. So let's come over to the cupboard and see what we need. This is the Metal Leaf size, which is the best brand that I have found after much experimentation. I'll put all the links in the description box below. I'm also going to be using a big emulsion brush because we have a big surface to cover. And I'm also going to choose a smaller brush to go around the edges. So because this is a big canvas, I decided to just pour big blobs of the size onto the canvas, which is actually kind of fun. I don't normally get to just pour it on, so I'm just brushing it on. And then what you need to do is you need to just look at a different angle, and you can see in the light whether you've covered every single little bit of the canvas. Feel free to be quite generous with your application of the size. I'm using a 1 litre bottle, and you most likely won't need such a large bottle, but you definitely could be generous. Don't skimp. So you've applied your size, and now what you need to do is leave it to achieve its prime state. So that means that this glue will remain tacky for up to 24 hours. In fact, it will remain tacky for longer than that, but you find that longer than 24 hours it tends to get a bit dusty and it's not as effective. So the most important thing is not to apply the gold leaf whilst the glue is still too wet. So I would recommend like a minimum on a canvas waiting 2 hours. I'm actually going to leave this one overnight because I have found that that gives you just this perfect state of tackiness. And so let's see what's the next step. We have our beautiful pile of gold leaf sheets. And what we're going to do is we're going to prise the first one off with a scalpel or a sharp knife or the edge of a scissors. And you'll see that it has a tissue backing. So we try and lift off the top sheet with the tissue. We place it onto the canvas and we just gently press it down using the tissue backing. We're not doing anything vigorous, we're literally just gently pressing it onto the surface. Remove the tissue. So let's prise off another sheet. I'm not going to lie, this is fiddly. If you have anything sticky on your fingers, you are going to struggle. So wash your hands thoroughly, dry them. Otherwise, it can be a bit of a nightmare with gold leaf sticking to your fingers. So we're just going to keep repeating the process, and as we lay down each sheet, we slightly overlap the previous one. You can see here that I've actually slightly torn the gold leaf. Can you see on that edge there? So no problem at all. All I do is I just overlap a bit heavier so that I cover the tear, or else what I can do is I can go and patch up any glitches at the end, which I will demonstrate for you. And then my process to cover this large space is to just lay down all the squares like I'm tiling, slightly overlapping as I go along. And then what you will see is that as we brush away all the excess, we have this kind of subtle outline of the squares of gold leaf. So you get that kind of beautiful traditional look of gold leaf with a hint of outline. There is another way that you can apply gold leaf so you don't have any outline, so it's just personal preference basically. So remember I said that I was just using my fingers to gently push down the gold leaf. I also at this stage am using a very soft watercolor brush just to push it down a bit more. But what you'll see is that shortly I will be burnishing the whole surface, where we really vigorously push the gold leaf into the surface. And I'm still using my scalpel to work my way through this pile of sheets. So part of this video is going to be me confessing to a big mistake that I made. When I bought the canvas, I bought it unprimed. So when I applied the size, too much of it absorbed into the surface. So it wasn't sticky enough. So look what's happening. I'm brushing away the excess gold leaf and I'm just having these awful, horrible, devastating, yucky bits, okay? So what are we going to do? No problem. We are going to apply a second layer of size and a second coat of gold leaf. And funnily enough, it's actually a process that I've been using recently, because then I feel like the surface is very strong if it's got 2 layers of gold leaf. And this project is huge and it's very valuable to me, and it's being sent to Saudi Arabia. And I would just feel more comfortable knowing that the gold leaf is as strong as it can be and it's going to last forever. So let's see what we're going to do next. All the excess gold leaf that you brush away is called skewings. Isn't that lovely? So here we go again. We are applying a second layer of size, brushing it on nice and thickly, and I'm feeling good because obviously I had a complete panic attack when I realized what I'd done, and I feel really confident now that we are going to get a beautiful result. Sorry about the weird light. This was filmed in the evening. So I'm back to applying my next layer of gold leaf, and again I'm overlapping just slightly as I go along, and I'm feeling great. So finally we have a beautiful surface and we are ready to burnish. So what I've done here is I've taken a piece of tissue paper and I've just got a piece of kitchen paper, and I'm literally going over the whole surface, rubbing quite hard, which just gives it that real extra boost into the canvas. At that stage I can then take my very soft brush and I can start working away at those seams. Oh my goodness, this is so satisfying. I love it. As you brush away all these skewings, remember I said they were called skewings? You can make them into a big pile and then you can just take them off the surface as you go along. What I do these days is I just brush them onto the floor and hoover them all up because they just go everywhere, especially this much quantity. So it's time to varnish. This is another Polyvine product and it's their Gloss Decorators Varnish. I've experimented with matte varnish, sprays, Mod Podge, or in some instances I've actually just left the gold leaf unvarnished. So, you know, I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, but this I find gives you the best finish. But it's really scary because you put the varnish on and it looks horrible and you think, wow, how is this going to dry? Please be okay. So I've learned through experience. It's going to be okay, guys. It's going to be fine. Otherwise that's like a 2-meter canvas down the pan. So let me show you how it turned out. I try and be really uniform with my brush strokes with the varnishing, so generally all in one direction. Just contradicted myself there, but I'm going to go over it. And you've got to go around the edges and try and keep a uniform quantity of varnish over the whole surface. I have found that if you apply too much, it can slightly stain. Wow, it's a lot of trial and error. So my advice is just try and get a uniform coat on. Hi Luna. Because I bought so much gold leaf, I did notice there was a slight variation in colour between the batches of gold leaf sheets. But I tried not to panic because I'm covering the whole canvas with the design. So it ended up looking absolutely gorgeous. If you'd like to see how I painted the artwork, please follow me on part 2, which I will link below. I'd love for you to subscribe, and any questions, add them in the comments. Thanks so much for your time today.